Merry Meetle! It is the ending of midwinter solstice here in the southern hemisphere. In a couple of days we will be in the time of the frost, or Imbolc, spring frost basically. So I can't wait. It's been a really hard, cold midwinter, winter, but enough of that. So finally going to do a garn amongst feathers, sawdust and mess post. I still haven't done my Imbolc spring cleaning yet. It's usually something that I drag out over 3 weeks. Not because I'm lazy, but because there's so much to do. I've already done quite a bit, but anywho's, as long as it's done. Hey, isn't that right, my goldies? Yeah. Speaking of Goldie. Garn. I'm drowning in garn. And a little tip for those who have cats who think that your drinking glass is for them. Put a coaster on it. It's something I just have a habit of doing now because I'm sorry, my cat licks her butt. I don't want her drinking my water. Like, dude, come on. Anyway, enough of that. So I have got projects everywhere, but I'm getting there. I made a goal to bust through a whole lot of garn and clear out my garn basically and just go for it and get lots of things done. I also want to do a signature granny square coat, which will probably take, to be honest, it will take a year to finish completing, designing, tweaking. There's a few things I want to do that's different, as well as collate the best of ideas and finishes on coats that I've seen that other people have done, if you like, and a few little quirks. But in that process, I'm actually going to do a long skinny scarf again, which I am sort of making up as I go. Also, I will be doing matching granny square bag, big enough for just to basically fit a hand in, and that's it. So I can just see people cycling at the front hanging around and they look rough. Sort of getting ready to go out there. Hang on. Just hanging at the front. Oh, they're right. Anyway, back to distractions. So one of the things I've really wanted for quite a while now too is to have a lot of woodland things in my bedroom which are plushy and just cute, including foxes, mushrooms, evergreens. My bedroom currently I'm redoing. I'm slowly replacing old furniture which a lot of the time has been thrifted, has had damage from when we had mold and water in this place when I first moved. So I'm replacing those. Also clearing out linens, recycling some linens for scrap material, etc., etc. So anyway, there's a woodlands pattern. I think it's by Claire Garland. I don't know if the pattern's still available, but I've got it saved somewhere. I'll add a link to it if I find the pattern on the net of things again. I'll have a look, and if I can find it, I'll add a link there to it. Not paid or anything like that, just it's what I like. Now she's using a chunky yarn. I love this combination. Don't you want to drink it? Well, I do. So I've basically these two colours here, they look very similar. This is a blood orange, and this is sherbet orange. Oh, I can't remember what this one is. I think it's blood orange and sweet orange. Anyway, they're both by Paintbox. And then I have a worsted weight coral, which is from Spotlight Yarn here in Australia. This is a 4.5 to 5 millimeter hook recommendation, and these are obviously, they're simply DK, so they're a 4 millimeter. So combining all four, it's like 12 roughly millimeter, and I'm using a aluminium knitting needle 12. And anyway, so she's just using a burnt orange chunky yarn, you know, typical sort of foxy sort of colouring dark orange. I'm doing it a little bit different. In her set she's also got an evergreen tree and a mushroom, and I'm going to be doing the same thing. I love textured yarn like this. There's something very tweed like to it that I like, and it sort of diminishes any cartoonish sort of look to things that I like. Not cartoonish, I just like things looking a little tweedy and earthy and rough, if I guess. Not in textures. Well, yeah, in texture. Anyway, I digress. I'm mumbling now. Anyway, so this is my progress. The other thing that's been going on is stitch markers. So where's my gourds? Okay, so these are gourd stitch markers. Now I've got quite a few different types of stitch markers, but last year I bought these, and I just, they're my favorite go-to. I like having different colors because I like using a contrasting color to whatever garn I'm working with so it sticks out. But wait, there's more. No, they're not match stitch markers. Well, maybe they are. What's in here? Oh, bees! So you can buy little charms that you would buy for making earrings and necklaces and so on, and you can just put them on a gourd. And one of the things I like about this is it's adding weight. So a lot of the time, so one of the things I'm also working on, because I've decided I want to have bras with no metal in them whatsoever, but I also, my width comes from the size of my back and rib cage from all the years of training and bodybuilding. And you know, so anyway, I'm going to see how I go. But as you can see here, my little bee, he's sort of like dragging the weight of the yarn down. So as I'm going through this, I have no idea how this is going to fit, if it's going to work. It's an 8-ply cotton yarn by, is it Lincraft or Spotlight? Anyway, it's an 8-ply. And anyway, so I'm doing the front piece of it, and then I'm going to do the back piece, and then I'm going to do the waistband on the side. So every day I'm just doing 2 rounds, 2 to 4 rounds when it's good daylight. Little tip when you're working with garn is, if you're working with dark colours, don't work with dark colours at night. Just save yourself the hassle. Don't do it. Do it during the day when there's good lighting with the light on, sort of thing. Straining to see is just going to make projects take longer than they need to be, and they're also not good for your eyes, says one of Siggy's feathers, who have just decided to make it into my stasher gun. Isn't that pretty? This is Sigrid. Hello, little Siggy. Her feather. She's such a cutie. Anyway, distracted. So I made these. I also made, and I've put a little label at the front. So obviously you know what this is. This one is a pentagram. Now, when people... Pentacle is a plate. It's not the 5-pointed star. Okay? Pentagram's a 5-pointed star. Now, if you have a plate with a pentagram on it, it becomes a pentacle. Okay, so pentacle pertains to being a flat surface or a plate. So I thought I'd make that the question. So nice silver, I got a gold. Again, I like using the contrasting. Now I also have a whole stack of jewellery that at some point I'm going to go through. There's stuff I just don't use anymore, and you know what? I'm going to use bits and bobs and the beads and that off the earrings, etc., that I don't use, and use them to make stitch markers. And check out these cats in a teacup. They're very spoke and Russian looking. I love it. Isn't that gorgeous? Kitty cat. Who doesn't like a Kit Kat in a cup? So, I mean, you can get these little charms everywhere. I mean, you can get Etsy, Amazon, you know, local store. You have a favourite person you like to buy from on Etsy, you know, support your designers sort of thing. You can get them everywhere. I find just holding the kitschy ones like this in these matchboxes are actually my go-to now. But I'm actually going to paint these matchboxes up and jazz them up a little bit so they don't just, nothing wrong with redheads, but they don't become redhead matches. Anyway, so their stitch markers update. This kit, I believe I got it on not Amazon, not Etsy. What's the other one? It's like the two, but it's not. Not Amazon, but an online store. Anyway, you can get these in packs, and I believe there's 2 different sorts of colouring sets you can get with these. So people are walking past with their kids from school. The dogs are all barking. Distracted again. I've got so much furniture to put together. I'm so like, ooh. So anyway, while we're here, this is kind of a post on lots of bits of stuff about garn. And a little trick, a little tip, something I like to do. What do you do with your scrap bits of yarn? Alrighty. So, you have scrap bits of yarn and then you have tail ends. I don't like... Get my hand stuck in here. Ah! Come on. Are you serious? Oh, sorry. So I was trying to grab something and actually put my hand at the same time. Not a good idea. These little itsy bitsies. Okay, so I like to have a jar at hand at all times when working with scraps. Well, working with any garns, especially if you're doing granny squares or anyway, just in general, anytime I pick up a ball of yarn or I've got my needles in hand, I have my jar near me. And then I put it into a big tub like this just with scrappies. And the one thing I like to do with garn that is this scrappy is I actually mix it with polyfill that I use for stuffed projects like stuffed animals and that sort of thing. To basically, I mean, I do half of bits of wool like this and half of the polyfill, and I use it up. No, it doesn't go into landfill, especially because a lot of the time I'm working with acrylic or polyester yarn, so it's not natural. I don't want that going into landfill. I'd rather reuse it. So with these little bits, so after a year, I'm actually going to do some scrap busting projects. And actually something I made quite a few years back is this long, it doesn't look long because it's folded 4 ways. It's actually a mat that I made for teaching my yoga classes at the time. So actually it's probably about 25 years old or something like that. I actually want to do some pillows like this, you know, a scrap garn. I wouldn't mind making a scrap garn bucket hat, a scrap garn jumper. I was sort of feeling a bit scrappy. So just, you know, lots of colours. So you tie the ends together in an invisible knot join and you end up with this ball of, you know, patchy garn. The other thing that I want to do as well is I want to do a latch blanket. So, you know, these sort of not scraps, I'll probably be able to get 5 to 6 cuts in a latch for doing a throw, that is a latch throw. So with that said, I am actually going to, once I fill this box up for an example, I'm going to divide it into warm colours, cool colours, and etc, etc. So if you want, start with me if you haven't been doing this, is start keeping your scraps like this, and I just, you know, weave them into little bundles like this. They almost remind me of butterflies, little tiny miniature skeins of garn almost. And, you know, keep your short bits, your cut-offs when you weave in your ends and you cut off the excess, keep those and put them aside for when you want to use when you want to create stuffed projects. So I thought I'd share that. It's funny, like I was thinking, oh, I'm going to do a post with just one thing, but now I'm like, oh hell no, let's just throw it all in there. My signature coat. Okay, I'm actually going to do a few different colours. Now you don't have to wait till the end of the year when I finished it because meantime I'm doing a matching scarf, which is a long skinny scarf, and it's going to be join as you go. The coat won't be join as you go. It will be in one part, but in the also, so it's going to be half join as you go, half join afterwards in a single stitch, and not slip, just single stitch, so you've got a ribbing. But I'm actually going to share this one, so I'm going to draw this up tonight, put it in my blog post. Stage 1, do square 1, and then square 2, and so basically once you do square 1 you join the second square. So that's part 1 of the crochet along, and part 2 will be doing the rest of the center motifs. Part 3 will be doing the motifs like the remaining, well, doing the red layer. So we've got hot pink or berry, and then we've got red. This is a little bit different though, this red, because what I've done, where did I put it? All my days. Where did it go? So I've done things a little bit different in, I've lost my mind. No, I haven't lost my mind. Hang on. Just let me go in. The whole point of having this tripod is that it doesn't matter if I put that down. Hang on. Oi! Oh. Yeah. Where'd you go? Oh my gosh, balls of yarn flying everywhere at the moment. Come here. Sometimes, do you ever feel like your yarn's got a mind of its own? So this time what I've done is I've actually combined, this is Peeler Box Red by Paintbox Garn, and I've actually mixed it with an old Kringle Sparkle yarn that I had, which is also a 4mm, and I've combined the two to do the red on the scarf, but that's not going to be on the actual coat. And the coat's actually is using a 5mm recommended hook garn, and it's a USA style. So this is where one of the reasons why the scarf is different. Also, as you can see, the colouring sequence is a little bit different. But anyway, I will upload and share a link. I'm so hot in here. I've had the heater going because I'm trying to dry towels. As I've said, we're very frosty, and getting anything to dry at the moment, especially in this old house, which has got really crappy ventilation and that sort of thing, is almost mission impossible, and you almost have to cook yourself to get things right inside. So I'll add a link to the write-up of the part 1 of the crochet along of the scarf. Once we finish the scarf, I do have a bonus project in there that I'm also going to include. There's actually 2 bonus projects feeding off the long skinny scarf, which also can be used as a belt or a very long hair tie, or almost like kerchief sort of thing. Anyway, so there's that. But this colouring just makes me feel happy. When it's winter, you know, and then you can just know the soil's warming up, I get so excited. And one of the things I love about Imbolc is the snow and the ice defrosting, if you like, melting. But the other colour schemes I created as well is a barley corn. Not for the same coat, but different colours of the same coat. And I did a bit of a play on the red, white and blue, but made it with teal and a claret, which is a little bit softer. And I've got green eyes. I do tend to sway towards green everything. This is a Kelly green that I created, a combo. So it's a mallard green, coral, worsted weight. Also USA style garn, an aqua, a very light mint, and mallard again. And this just reminds me of one of my favourite things, licorice all sorts. That makes me really happy as well. This is not for a coat, but I just like this colour schema, and I actually want to make bags that are big enough for a hand to throw things in. So they're the colour schemes. of the signature coat that I'm creating, but I'm definitely going to do the berry one, which reminds me of a strawberry thick shake. And I think this is the colour I want to see right now to make me feel happy with the frost and the cold at the moment. I also slipped the other day, landed on this hand and have sprained my flexors, which is the forearm, and now it's kind of all numb inside here, and also a bit of a pain in the ass to grip. And I'm right-handed, but as you know, if you crochet, your tension hand is your left hand if you're right-handed. So it's like, what do you do? So I'm icing a little bit, so through here, and doing that every day a little bit till it heals. It's getting better, but this is a pain in the ass. It's so wet and slippery here that, you know, you're going to go ass up at some point. And I'm not where I need to be with my physical rehab, so I'd rather land on my hand than land on my hip or knee at this point of time. But anyway, this is my sort of craziness of what I'm up to in garn at the moment. You know, it's really, like I said, I was going to do separate posts for things. I was going to do a post just on doing your stitch markers, a post on each project. I'm like, hell no. Let's just throw it all together so it's a bit like a mixed bag of lollies. And show you as well, I'm still alive. I'm just bogged under with things to do. And the garning's part of it, the blogs are part of it. Getting stuff done in the house, spring cleaning is part of it, and add to it the scales and the feathers and furs that I have here pertaining to my animal babies. Yeah, there's never a dull moment. Anyway, blessed be Mary Part. I hope you're keeping sane. And yeah, please join me with the crochet along with the skinny scarf, long skinny scarf. I'm aiming to do a 22 squared length. This is using a 5mm hook. It's using a USA style garn, which recommends a 4.5mm hook or needle. You could use any yarn that recommends that, or even a worsted weight. Most worsted weights usually recommend a 4.5 to 5mm crochet hook or needle anyway. And as for the glitter, you can just use a DK weight garn and a glitzy DK or a glitzy garn that you can mix with hold the two threads together if you like, or the two garns together, and work that together. And I'll add a link to that. And you know, how long will it take? Well, I reckon you can do the part one in one day easy. I mean, it's just half hour really to sit there and do these two small squares. Do the first one, do the second one, and on the last round, do it on the join. So do it joining the first square. But then doing the remainder 20 center motifs, that might take you a bit of time. So if you do that this week, the first two, then next week you can pump out the remaining 20 little pink centers while you're sitting in front of the idiot box or something like that. And then on the third week we'll do the sparkly red round, and then on the fourth week we'll join them. And on the fifth week I most likely want to do a border around the entire scarf, even though I don't mind is sort of like puckering in the joins. I actually like that, which might go with the kind of edging I'm thinking. There's three different possibilities, but we'll see which I end up with. So we'll do that over the next few weeks. Of course you can change whatever colours you want, but I don't know, hot pink, red, glitzy red sparkles, and white. You can't go really wrong with that. Blessed be Mary Part. And yes, thank you for staying with me on this one. And there will be a lot more garn blog posts right up coming with the vlogs, these vlogs. I will do some updates when I've finished doing any of these projects, along with some of the blankets. And of course I've got my animals, and now my greenhouses are almost like busting to the seams with plants, and they can't wait to get outside, but we're still in frosty time, so they need to just hold on to their roots a little bit longer. And anyway, so there's a lot of that coming as well. I'm also have started a compost bin that I've made out of straw, and I've also started a new potato tower. So anyway, there's lots of dirt and plants, or dirt and greens, coming as well in way of logs. And there's a few also home cozy little projects that I'm going to share that you might want to do for yourself. Blessed be and merry part. Sorry for the delay since the last post. I've just been a little snowed under. Bye for now.